I know you like the new security system. Watch this.
This weekend at the movies with Ebert and Roeper, Martin Lawrence and Raven Simone go on a college road trip.
Stop spying on me! Do you want me to call the police?
I didn't do anything, okay?
A little movie with a big payoff. Kate Beckinsale in Snow Angels.
There's something so sensual about fur next to the skin, don't you think?
Plus, Oscar nominee Amy Adams and Oscar winner Frances McDormand star in Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day.
This is me.
And something new, 3 to see. Our picks for the 3 best movies in theaters right now.
I've got an interview at Georgetown in 30 minutes.
This plane going to Washington?
You guys divers?
Since I was a baby.
Thought all you need is a swimming pool and a bouncy boy.
Wrong kind of diving.
First up is College Road Trip. It is genuinely, consistently, indisputably putrid. I'm Richard Roeper.
And I'm Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune. So, Richard, how do you really feel?
Well, I'll tell you, I feel okay. I did blow out my voice a little bit screaming in protest when Marianne Cotillard won Best Actress. However, I'm ready to talk about movies, including College Road Trip.
All right.
All right, over the last 8 years, starting with Big Mama's House and including such dreck as Bad Boys 2 and Rebound, Martin Lawrence has put together one of the longest losing streaks in major motion picture history. Congratulations. In the odious clunker College Road Trip, Lawrence overplays it to death. He plays James Porter, a borderline creepy, overprotective father straight out of a bad sitcom. Raven Simone, also overacting, plays his college-bound daughter, Melanie.
All right, and he knows. You can be chief at the station, but you have to be dad at home. That's right, you tell him exactly that. Thank you very much.
Surprise! Road trip, yeah.
Oh, no.
Melanie wants to attend Georgetown, but her dad wants her to stay closer to home and attend Northwestern.
Dad, just don't embarrass me, okay?
Go, Cats! #1! Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Mel. Yes, baby. #1!
And just when you think the comedy couldn't get bigger and broader and flatter, Donny Osmond shows up as a rah-rah dad who's so insanely upbeat, you'll wonder if he might be a cult leader.
Thank you.
You mean so long, farewell,
Auf Wiedersehen, adieu,
adieu, adieu, to you and you and you. See ya.
Then there's Melanie's little brother, who's supposed to be some kind of a genius, but adds nothing to the mix. And the kid's pet pig, the centerpiece of some amazingly unfunny shtick. There are more laughs in No Country for Old Men than in this disaster. And the attempts at sentiment are cloying and forced. So basically, I'm giving this a negative review.
No, I'm right with you. I think you're just anti-pig, mainly, you know. But do you remember Super Dad, the Bob Crane Disney comedy from about, I don't know, you were probably 14 at the time, right?
I was probably 6 at the time, but thank you very much.
Right, so Bob Crane, in the old Disney picture, plays this overprotective, sort of creepily overprotective father of the girl going off to college. And you know what? That premise, to me, is just born for not funny. Do you know what I mean?
Really,
it's been overused forever, and this picture doesn't have anything new to bring to it except just that sort of vaguely unsettling feeling that Martin Lawrence needs to get a life and let his daughter on with hers. And I don't know. I really felt like this was about the worst piece of slapstick I've seen in a year.
You know, it's really obviously not reaching for much, Michael, but even then it falls far short. And it must be just depressing to work on a movie like this, because there's no way those scenes are playing funny when they're filming them on the page, no matter what any actors could do with it. And I think these actors are universally bad, even with the bad material. They actually sink below it instead of rising above it.
No, and I resent it, really, because it gives G-rated slapstick a bad name. And first of all, G-rated twice, you get a taser to the gut as a psych gag, and for me, that kind of lifts automatically out of the G into PG, you know?
Because this entire movie was a taser somewhere else, my friend.
I've been tasered too many times in real life to laugh at it in the movies. So, from one of the worst to one of the best. Richard, I bet Snow Angels lands on quite a few top 10 lists this year.
Yes.
It's certainly a good bet for mine. This is a beautifully acted and directed drama about 2 small-town families fracturing in ordinary and extraordinary ways. It's set up like a mystery. Arthur, played by Michael Angarano, is at band practice one day when he hears gunshots in the distance. The movie then flashes back several weeks to explain what led to those shots. Now, in the midst of a breakup, Arthur's parents have left their son feeling stranded, but a transfer student, played by Olivia Thirlby, she was Ellen Page's best friend in Juno, arrives on the scene like a gift from heaven.
I think I like you. And I think you like me, too. And you're just afraid to say it. Huh? At least I want you to like me. because...
Huh? What's that?
When you smile, I think it's attractive.
So sweet. This is one of the most touching high school romances I can remember on screen. The darker material in Snow Angels involves Annie, played by Kate Beckinsale, who's estranged from her husband, Glenn, played by Sam Rockwell.
Wait, so you got a job?
Yeah.
I mean, are you working?
Yeah.
It's not like Rafe just hooked you up at the carpet warehouse or something?
Well, actually, yeah. You know, it's not amazing, Annie, but I'm trying, you know?
By this time, Annie's having an affair with her co-worker's husband, and Glenn is losing his battle with alcoholism, and he starts coming around when he shouldn't.
Hey, what are you, a kung fu guy? Yeah. What are you, kung fu? Kung fu? Yeah?
Now, something awful happens around the story's midpoint, and it casts a grim shadow across the rest of writer-director David Gordon Green's fourth feature. But I was amazed at how carefully Snow Angels balances its characters along the continuum of despair and hope. It's taken from Stuart Onan's debut novel, and this is probably the best American film dealing with parents and children since, well, Little Children. This is a small but very sure gem in limited release, but I say seek it out. I like
Very
this
good
film.
comparison, Michael, to Little Children. I think it's a great film. There are elements of other movies, everything from a little bit of American Beauty to Gone Baby Gone, and it has such a sure sense of neighborhood and relationships when they go horribly wrong, and sometimes it's so accurate that you have to cringe, but despite the downbeat material, it's a very uplifting film because of the incredible talent on display. And the writing, David Gordon Green, I've loved all of his films. And the cast is just uniformly excellent here, including Kate Beckinsale, who's been in a lot of big commercial movies and kind of action films. And we see here that she has the potential, I think, to be a top-tier actress.
Everybody, and I'll tell you, the thing that keeps it from being, I think, too despairing an experience is that unbelievable high school romance between those two young characters. Really, really excellent. And I just think that every change that Green made when he adapted this thing, very, very astute. You know, he took it out of the 1970s setting into this sort of like vague present-day thing. It's really got a great sense of place, and it just makes it feel in real effective dramatic terms what it's like to go through small crises like divorces and large ones.
And to see how they can blow up into Greek tragedy. And I want to say a word, too, about Olivia Thirlby, who added so much to Juno in a fairly small role as Ellen Page's best friend. I think she's so good. As much as I like Ellen Page, she's a little bit of a quirky type. I wouldn't be surprised if Olivia Thirlby ends up having a bigger career.
And Michael Angarano, terrific, too.
Yeah, terrific cast.
All right, later in the show, Pierce Brosnan has a dirty little secret in married life.
Sweet Kay.
And next, Jason Statham takes on The Bank Job.
We're not bank robbers. Maybe that's why we could get away with it.
So what's the verdict?
We're bloody going for it.
That was a scene from The Bank Job starring Jason Statham. We reviewed it on last weekend's show. It opens this week. I think it's one of the best heist movies I've seen in a long time.
Oh, good, solid heist film. It almost makes up for Ocean's 13. And by the way, your vocal thing today sounds a lot like Jason Statham.
Got a problem with that. All right. Next movie, Rachel McAdams is a platinum blonde stunner, and Pierce Brosnan and Chris Cooper are the men who will do just about anything to have her in a film called Married Life. This is a well-drawn period piece set in the late 1940s, that post-war time when a certain breed of man wore hats, drank hard liquor at lunch, smoked cigarettes nonstop, and did a little skirt chasing on the side. Chris Cooper plays Harry Allen, a straight shooter in a seemingly happy marriage to Patricia Clarkson's Pat.
You're prettier today than you've ever been.
Thank you.
But let's feast this morning.
You know I shouldn't.
Eat, drink, and be merry, my dear.
I'll taste everything, I promise, darling.
Like Cooper, Pierce Brosnan is probably at least a decade too old for the role he's playing, but he's appropriately smooth and narcissistic as Harry's best friend Richard, a career womanizer.
I had that cigarette you're smoking. What's left of it?
Well, if you want. Why?
Because it touched your lips.
Fueled by the twisted belief that Pat would rather die than face the humiliation and heartbreak of divorce, Harry hatches a nefarious plan.
That stuff can be dangerous.
I know. Thank you.
Sir, you do need to pay.
Pardon me. I think we should go to the cabin this weekend and spend some time alone.
Director and co-writer Ira Sachs isn't trying to do a Far From Heaven here. This isn't an homage. It's a film that tries to look and sound of its time with no winks to the camera or inside jokes. Brosnan's deadpan narrative lends just the right touch. McAdams is beautiful and alluring and not so innocent, just the kind of woman that inspires men to contemplate leaving or even killing their wives and or betraying their best friends. Cooper and Clarkson are sublime in creating a marriage still filled with tenderness, even as they lie to each other with breezy consistency. At times, married life falters, but with a quick 90-minute running time, it rarely misses a step completely. I liked it a lot.
And next fall, Richard Roeper co-stars with Verna Lisi in How to Murder Your Wife. So, yeah, I know you love this theme.
Like the dark stuff, I'll say that much.
I'm with you on Rachel McAdams. I think she's a wonderful actress. I'm not sure that this film would ever be described as quick by a sane human being, because I think it's very plotting behind the camera. I don't think this... No, I think this thing, it's kind of a multi-genre piece, a little bit of a mystery, a little bit of a comedy, but I don't think Ira Sachs really ever establishes the right tone and pulls us in. It's really more about
I think he's
actors...
got the tones right completely, from the look, from the music, to the touch, to the acting styles.
Yeah, you think?
And Michael, there's not a wasted scene in this movie. I don't know how you could say it's plotting. Every single scene, you know, they build just right to the kind of, I think, kind of satisfying conclusion, which isn't what you expect.
I think a movie like this should keep an audience guessing, whether it's about the plot or the tone. But I think the movie really is more like Ira Sachs kind of guessing his way through what sort of style or what sort of rhythm to really establish like this.
To me, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's not guessing about anything. You should guess again and see it again. I think you'd appreciate it more.
Really? Not quite for me. Not quite. All right. Later in the show, I'll give you my 3 picks for the 3 movies to see in theaters.
And next, Frances McDormand and Amy Adams star in Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day.
Another man.
Well, of course another man. Bill, it's time to wake up, darling.
I can get your boy up. They just need to know who's in charge.
First door at the top of the stairs. Get up.
Oh! He's a much bigger boy than I had expected.
Oh, you noticed.
And now something for fans of featherbrain 1930s farce, and I am one of them. Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day comes from a 1938 novel about a governess who becomes social secretary, mentor, and moral compass for an American singer living in London on the brink of World War II. Frances McDormand, Oscar winner for the slightly darker comedy Fargo, is Miss Pettigrew. Amy Adams of Enchanted plays Delicia LaFosse, the 3-timing gold digger with the heart of gold. Here, she relays her showbiz dreams to her new helpmates.
Didn't you catch Every Day's a Holiday? One of mine.
Mae West.
Oh, you did see it?
Yes, which part were you?
I was in the restaurant scene. In the back.
Really?
Behind the palm tree, drinking a margarita. I think they cut that for the European print, a little de trop for you English, if you know what I mean.
It's like Jean Harlow teaming up with Mary Poppins. Among her current beaus, Delicia is stepping out with a piano man, played by Lee Pace, apparently on a Clive Owen fellowship. But the songbird has a couple of other lovebirds, and the piano player doesn't like the competition.
He does seem to be a little agitated about something.
Yes. Well, I'm afraid that might be my fault.
Indeed.
Ice pick.
It's in the drawer. Somewhere. Ice in the Frigidaire.
I want the pick for murder, not ice.
Will Miss Pettigrew find her heart's desire before the story's 24-hour time span runs out? Silly question. Haven't you ever seen one of these things?
I think it's the most beautiful thing I've ever worn.
Now, the flatterer has been out-flattered.
Sorry?
It's one of mine. The design. Last year for Mimi Couture.
My goodness.
You really didn't know.
That's Kieran Hines as London's most fashionable designer. First 20 minutes of this movie are very shrill, and director Barrett Naluri's sense of style is all over the place. Then, gradually, McDormand and Adams start acting for the camera instead of the second balcony. So, rough start, smooth finish, and by the end, a satisfying Art Deco fairy tale. So, I say see it.
I'm right with you on this one. The first 15 minutes, I thought, oh, man, this thing is going to be painful to sit through. But I think the script found its way, and the actors, it's like they were given a really kind of challenging piece of music that seems kind of light, but actually requires them to play a lot of different notes, and they're up to the challenge. They're all really good. Amy Adams, it's almost like she's playing a variation. She could be the grandmother of the fairy tale character she played in Enchanted.
Right, I mean, she's working in a more mannered style than Enchanted.
But it's okay, because you mentioned the 30s, it's set in the late 30s, and you could see Carol Lombard or somebody playing a role like this if it had been made at the time. And Kieran Hines is another one of these actors. He's been around for a long time. He's a terrific character actor, and he actually gets to play somewhat of a romantic lead in the story with Frances McDormand, which I thought was so sweet, and gave this film just a little bit of gravity, as they were talking about. They knew what was coming, and the younger people not really willing to accept the fact that this country is going to be at war very soon.
Right, and I think that kind of bittersweet tone that you sort of get more toward the end really does sort of, that's part of why the acting kind of finds its groove, I think, because they realize, it's not just this sort sort of door-slamming farce, which the first 15, 20 minutes isn't really well written or directed or acted. It's all kind of going wrong.
You almost
there.
feel like the camera's going to pull back and we find out that we're watching a stage play. It's so over the top.
No, this is a reminder that you should not necessarily count out a movie that starts off in a very kind of awkward foot. So you never know.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, next up is City of Men. It's a follow-up of sorts to the 2002 sensation City of God. Now, this is not as shocking or powerful as that masterpiece, but it's a strong and sobering reminder that the poisonous recipe of poverty, teenagers, and violence is certainly not unique to America. Once again, we see the contrast between the breathtaking beauty of Rio de Janeiro and the horrific conditions in slums that seem to stretch forever. Douglas Silva is excellent as Ace. He's just becoming a man, but he already has a 2-year-old son.
Eu não vou cuidar do Cleito sozinho.
Mas ele é teu filho, você não pode largar.
Mas é você que tá largando, você que tá indo embora, cara. Ô, Cris, faz isso comigo não, cara.
Ace and his best friend Wallace try to steer clear of the gang wars in their neighborhood, but when a turf battle escalates, it's nearly impossible to stay neutral.
Qual foi a primeira arma que eu peguei na vida? Arma do teu pai, nem mim. Sente só o peso, né?
Based on a TV series, City of Men sometimes appears to be a Cliff Notes version of a more detailed saga. That said, the filmmaking here I think is exhilarating. The camera moves naturally and swiftly through these hilly streets, seeming to eavesdrop on reality. All of the performances are excellent. The violence is not glorified. The messages are admirable. It's a strong piece of work, and I think people should seek it out.
Yeah, I actually preferred this to City of God.
Really?
I thought,
I wouldn't go that far.
Now, to me, the filmmaking in that first one was so kind of flashy and out to wow you every second that, in a way, I think the stories of the kids got a little lost there.
Maybe so. I mean, I know what you're saying.
The whole thing's a more modest and I think truthful effort here. And this location work on Dead End Hill, the region in Rio, the slum where they shoot this thing, unbelievable payoffs. And again, just sort of in an atmospheric way, it really feels like no other picture.
A real ring of authenticity in every scene. All right, coming up next, this year's big winner at the Academy Awards in our video segment.
That's the best deal you're going to get.
But first, here's a look at what's coming up on next week's show.
Whoa! Why didn't you just kill us?
You shouldn't forget the importance of entertainment.
You like jazz?
You're talking to humans. You're flying outside the house.
Looking at movies new on DVD, I liked B-Movie, I liked Nancy Drew, but I can't recommend Hitman. But, of course, I'm recommending the Oscar winner for Best Picture this year, No Country for Old Men, a terrific film. It's really interesting. There's been a lot of talk, of course, about Javier Bardem, who won for Best Supporting Actor. I want to spotlight in this clip, though, the performance of Josh Brolin, who's equally as strong in this film.
Why would he go to Odessa?
Kill your wife.
Maybe he's the one who needs to be worried about me.
And you know, Michael, there's been endless discussion about the ending for No Country for Old Men. There are a lot of theories about what it really means, or was it empty? I think it's a perfect ending. It took me a while to warm up to it, but the more I think about it, I think it's just the right ending.
I admire that film enormously, but I think there's a scene missing that would have set up that tonal shift at the end. But you know, it's still well worth seeing. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, my video pick is the romantic comedy Dan in Real Life, which stars Steve Carell as an advice columnist raising 3 daughters on his own. While vacationing with his extended family, Carell meets Juliette Binoche.
I think this is all premature.
Yeah, you do.
We don't even know if you can bowl.
Binoche turns out to be dating Carell's brother, played by Dane Cook, giving the most not bad performance of his life. Now, how's that for a recommendation? The main thing is the pairing of Carell and Binoche, and it really does work. Slight, but very charming, I thought, this film.
I agree with you, Michael. In fact, we forgive Dane Cook, Good Luck Chuck, and Steve Carell, Evan Almighty, for their very strong performances in this much superior film.
Yeah, good ensemble effort. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Dan in Real Life and No Country for Old Men will be in stores on Tuesday.
And we'll be back with a brand new segment, 3 to See, right after this.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is sponsored by...
Okay, something new this week, 3 to See. Richard and I are going to trade off touting our favorite movies currently in theaters. This week it's my turn. Number 3, Definitely Maybe, a romantic comedy with a Love Actually vibe, but it's actually a whole lot better than Love Actually, with some sterling female performances. Number 2, The Bank Job, a sharp, no-nonsense heist film set in 1971 London. And my number 1 to see this week is Snow Angels, a gripping and beautifully acted story of a small-town murder's impact on 2 very different families. Wouldn't call it call it a pick-me-up, but it has real emotional power. It's in limited release for now, so look for it in the coming weeks.
Well, I like all three of your picks quite a bit, but the idea that Definitely Maybe is better than Love Actually is pure folly.
Oh, please.
Nevertheless, good picks. Good picks. All right, that's it for this week. Until next week, the balcony is closed.
Oh, man.
Everything's better with toppings, like new shortcake pancakes at IHOP. Fluffiness topped with decadence only at IHOP. Come hungry, leave happy.
The rhinovirus, a leading cause of the common cold. Why just cover up the symptoms of your cold when you can get over your cold faster with Zicam?
And now a tip on parenting. Be a good listener.
You are a murderer of love!
Steve Carell, Dan in Real Life on DVD and in high definition only on Blu-ray March 11th.
Oh boy, smelly shoes. No smell?
Odor Eaters destroys odor, absorbs wetness. Odor Eaters insoles powder and spray.